Hello, it's me, Phat Cow. I have the lurgy. I caught it off somebody who I live with. I caught it off somebody I interacted with, and thus we have all learned how viruses work. Anyway, I have a story. This is a story I've never told anybody else. Although, there's no shame in it, so I don't know why, but still. But I'm telling it now because it's going to prove something very, very particularly to do with what's currently going on. Now, if I start this story with, it didn't happen in a pharmacy, but you know what I'm going to talk about. When I first arrived in the Middle Eastern country that I lived in for over a decade, I garnered the interest of a particular young man who I worked with. This is not the person that became my husband. This was somebody within the first month or so. It got to the point where he wished for me to meet his family, and I just thought it was a thing that, people who were friends did. It was a nice gesture, I had only just arrived in the Middle East. I didn't understand exactly what was going on. I didn't understand that agreeing to have a coffee with a member of the opposite sex was basically agreeing to a date when me from another culture just thinks it's coffee, So, anyway, we meet, we talk, and his father is very concerned that his son doesn't do anything sinful. So, when I finally get the gist of where this is going, and I think, well, yeah, I'm a bit lonely, he's nice, I'd like to date this guy. His father produces a piece of paper. Now, this piece of paper turns out to be an Urfi marriage certificate. So, me thinking, well, actually, this isn't a big deal because this isn't legal. It doesn't actually mean anything in my opinion. Obviously, this was before I converted or even entertained the idea of declaring myself or surrendering myself to a higher power. So to me it wasn't a big deal. It was literally just something to, basically Urfi is a way of marrying in the eyes of God, which I didn't believe in at that time, to kind of justify having intimate relationships with someone so that you're not actually sinning technically, but it's not legally recognised at all. And it's usually done in secret, and it's usually not something that is declared to people most of the time, but it can be used to kind of to circumnavigate certain things that require people to be married, like staying in hotels together. So the father, who was a lovely man, takes out this piece of paper and marries us in his front room. Me and the other guy sitting on a sofa. I'd been in the Middle East maybe a month. I just wanted to date him. He wanted to circumnavigate the sin of being intimate with me. So we married in the eyes of God. I mean, not for me, because at the time I didn't believe, but for them, okay, if it gave them peace of mind, fine. And the last thing his dad said to me was, if she gets pregnant, you have to marry properly. Okay? Anyway, a month after that, I went back to visit my family, and when I come back, my husband told me he had divorced me in my absence because he didn't believe that I would be faithful when I went back to England. And the way he divorced me was by saying, "I divorce you," 3 times. So that was great. Anyway, I thought I'd share this because although it wasn't in a pharmacy, you can actually have an Urfi marriage anywhere. So, no. Because, I'd argue that someone accusing you of being married in a pharmacy is a very specific detail to the narrative. It's not like they said it was in your home or, your front room. A pharmacy. Very specific detail. Anyway, I'm talking a load of rubbish. Well, not. I'm telling the truth. When I say I'm talking a load of rubbish, I mean I'm waffling. Anyway, that's my story. I got married in the front room of somebody else's house on the sofa, having popped in after work to have a cup of tea. And yes, I was very naive to the nuances of the culture, and I accidentally ended up dating some people because I agreed to have a coffee with them, not knowing that this meant we were dating, when actually I thought I was just having a conversation with a superior at work about work stuff. So yeah, go figure. And before you come to me saying, "So you didn't actually get married legally, did you?" This was a 2-month period within the first 4 months of me being in the Middle East. I did actually legally get married in a courthouse with a judge, and one of the witnesses was my father-in-law. And I can talk you through that process too, if you want. Alright? And yes, I agree. I'm an idiot.